Hey guys, it's Cole here, welcome back, and welcome to another mock overview, where today's mock is the Lamborghini Murcielago SV. Now, before we get started, as always, the instructions are at the link in the description below, where you can go to rebrickable.com, where I have my instructions listed. There are 3 different colors of instructions in red, orange, and yellow, and you can basically buy whichever one you like. They're all $5 each, and you just get one, and each one comes with a parts list that's free. So you can basically go to each listing and get the parts list for whatever color you like, and you can build it using the instructions. Now, roughly what I've estimated, if you buy the parts off of bricklink.com for any one of the 3 colors, the cheapest color is going to, my estimate at least, cheapest color is going to be red, around $30 to $50 or so. The second cheapest will be orange at roughly $40 to $50 to $60 or so. The most expensive will be yellow at roughly $50 to $70, maybe $80, because the yellow one uses the Speed Champions fenders, which were only ever found in the Corvette Z06 set, and that set is not very common on Bricklink at least. So if you have the Corvette Z06 set, you're in luck, because you can probably save roughly $20 or so off of the price of a yellow Murcielago SV. So now some history on the Murcielago. Now, the Lamborghini Murcielago was the successor to the Diablo back in the late 1990s. So in 2001 they introduced the Murcielago. That's kind of regarded as what was the last Lamborghini when they had all these stupid features on it. I'm not going to go into all the details, but you can punch it in YouTube search. You can go Lamborghini Murcielago. Look for the first generation review. Doug DeMuro, he's got one of those reviews of the very first generation one. If you go check that out, you'll understand why people call it like the last sort of crazy Lamborghini. Even the Aventador's crazy, but this one's probably crazier just with all the crazy stuff they put in it. So, like I said, they started with 2001 with the first generation one. 2006 they introduced the LP640, which is kind of your facelift and more power. Then 2007 they introduced the Reventon, which basically apparently was inspired by an F-22 Raptor fighter jet, and I think that's definitely, of all the cars that they say, oh yeah, the interior is based on a fighter jet or something like that, this is definitely, well, the exterior in this case is based on the fighter jet, and this is definitely one of the coolest cars ever, and you could tell that a lot of the Aventador styling came from the Reventon. Next, 2008 they revealed the Murcielago SV, which is their super veloce, super fast version. And basically, it was lighter, it was faster, it was more powerful, all that kind of stuff. And they were planning to build 350 of them. They only ever ended up building 186 because I guess they got on with the production of the Aventador, which weirdly released 4 years later, so I can't figure out exactly why they stopped. But they did stop anyway, and so there were only ever 186 Murcielagos built, and only 5 were ordered with a manual transmission, or 6 were ordered with a manual transmission. 1 crashed. There's only 5 manual Murcielago SVs in existence, unless somebody's manual swapped one. And like I said, 1 crashed, so you only have 5, and thus you only have 185 Lamborghini Murcielago SVs out there. Now, one thing I'd like to touch on before we go into the details of the model is that the Murcielago name was basically, in Spanish, Murcielago means bat, and there was a fighting bull named after a bat, so they called the bull Murcielago, and then they named the car after the bull, so they called the car the Murcielago. So the car is kind of named after a bat and the bull at the same time, because the car's name means bat, but it was named after a bull whose name meant bat, and it's kind of confusing. So let's get on to the Lego model now. The model, as you see here, we built it in red, and I believe there are only 3 ever ordered from the factory in red, which is quite interesting. And this one, basically, the main reason I got it in red is just so I could call it the Red Bull, as you can see on the license plate here. Now, we start at the front end. As you can see, we have this trapezoid shape. There are places that is kind of like the LP640. Well, it was unique to the SV, the trapezoid shape at least. The LP640 had a trapezoid shape that was kind of almost more stripped down and refined on the SV model. On the front we have the black lip spoiler, because all the SVs came from the factory with a black lip spoiler. Along the side we have those sort of side, not skirts necessarily, but those air channels, and we have the black intake at the back, which is, like I said, with like the same case as the lip spoiler, black from the factory, that intake at the back. You have the doors on the sides, which do look a little bit too long perhaps, but I've tried multiple versions, and this I think is the best looking one, so I'm pretty happy with it. And they do open up like the previous Murcielago model, because I forgot to mention I have built, it's right up there somewhere, I built the original first gen Murcielago. We'll link to that in the description below. yeah, below, not over here, below. And if you want to go see that video, we have the very large Murcielago mirrors, which is really big chunky mirrors that kind of like rectangles that stick out either side of the car. We have the those wedge plates for the headlights, which do look almost a little bit cartoony, but I think they're very accurate to the Murcielago's headlight shape. Even though I could have sunk them into the body of the car a little bit, if they're sticking out, I think we can move them slightly closer to the car and keep the length good, because I think we would have had to go out further and make the front area of the car just look like a stud too longer. That would look kind of funny. So I think this worked pretty well. Move further on back, we have the interior, and the interior I think looks really good. It does fit too many figures like the last Murcielago model I built, and you can fit, and they will fit with like large hair or large hat or whatever, so you can fit quite a few minifigures in here, which I'm pretty proud of, because none of my previous models have been able to fit any minifigures at all, so this is a first, I suppose. Next up, we have that rear engine cover, which is formed by a new piece from the 2021 Ninjago sets, which I was able to find off of Bricklink. Now, it's not super accurate to the Murcielago SV's actual engine cover, but this is a good way of doing it, I found, and I think it looks fairly realistic. Obviously, it's a little bit too rounded to actually be super accurate, but I think it looks pretty cool at least. Now, we move around to the back. As you can see, we have a lot of open areas and things where all air can come through and cool the engine compared to the standard Murcielago. Now, you have a license plate on there, custom one I just basically printed out and cut out and stuck on there with some double-sided tape, Red Bull, because of the car's a red Lamborghini, I guess. We also have the large spoiler, which is not like a massive spoiler, but is fairly big, and it's got basically 7 studs wide jumper plates at the end, which will extend it to 8 studs wide. And as you can see, jumper plates are slightly angled to represent, because the Murcielago SV wing is quite an interesting shape, very cool looking wing. So we've done these jumper plates in the edges to basically just make it that a little bit wider, and also make it come down and sort of angled forward a bit, and I think it looks pretty good. We also have that one massive central exhaust back there, which is formed this interesting slope, kind of weird wedge shaped piece, which I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it works very well in this case. So for the features of the Murcielago, like I said, it fits 2 minifigures, and you can fit them with like big hair pieces or whatever, so you can fit quite a few different minifigures in here. It fits minifigures better than the actual Speed Champion sets that were released for 2020, so I was kind of happily surprised with that. I didn't intend it to fit minifigures anyway, but it fits them, so that's something different compared to the previous models. And the second feature would be that the doors open, so as you can see, all it requires is 2 bracket pieces, and those pieces are included in the rebrickable inventory. You take them, basically, in the rebrickable instructions, I've included a separate PDF on how to open the doors. You take the doors off, you disassemble them, you reassemble them, and you stick them back on the car. And it looks pretty cool. Obviously, the windows are still there, so it doesn't look perfect, but I think it looks okay. You get the idea at least. And the third feature would be that the little intakes that are very distinctive to the Murcielago that sit above the rear fenders, and basically on the real one they open when the engine hits a certain temperature to get more air to the engine, but they're very recognizable on the Murcielago. And so here you can replace the little 1x2 slope that represents the folded down intake for this little assembly that represents the extended air intake. And so you can kind of represent that. Obviously it doesn't look perfect. I did want to use a hinge piece there originally, but obviously there wasn't enough space, so I had to go with this assembly, and it looks okay. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for staying till the end if you're still here. Like I said, the instructions are at the link in the description below, rebrickable.com, and you can give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.